Hello everybody, welcome to our special pancake breakfast story time today. My name is Miss Erin and I am the children's librarian at the Northeast Regional Library, and I just am so glad that you and your families have joined us today for this special pancake story time. So what we're going to do first is we are going to make pancakes together. And hopefully you saw our post on social media where we shared out our recipe that we're going to use today. We're going to do this step by step together. If you didn't see that, if you look in the description below this video, you will find a link to the recipe that we're going to use today. This recipe is really simple, and if you have your own recipe, say you have a family recipe that you like to use, or maybe you just like to use something out of a box, that's fine. We just want to have fun together, mixing and stirring and measuring and making our pancakes together. So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have all of your ingredients out and ready to go, which is kind of what I've already done. So hopefully you have some mixing cups, some bowls. I have this big mixing cup here. You're going to need maybe a whisk or just a spoon, whatever you like to use. You're going to need some kind of spatula so that you can flip pancakes. And I have an electric griddle going, but you can make these however you like to. Maybe you're just going to do it on your stove, or you have something like this that you're going to use, okay? So make sure you have all of that ready, and the first thing that I did was I measured out my dry ingredients, okay? So usually when you're baking something like this, you want to have all your dry ingredients separate from the wet ingredients, okay? And that's kind of a way to do it. So the first thing is you're going to get your flour, okay? So any kind of flour. This is self-rising flour, all-purpose flour, and you're going to need 1.5 cups. So I've already put that in this bowl, but this is a great time to remember when you're working with, if the kids are watching and you're doing this together, grown-ups, make sure that you let your children dig into the flour and pour it themselves, okay? Look at the cups together. This is 1 cup, this is 1/2 cup. So you can talk about measurements, okay? This is a great little segue into some math together, okay? Figuring out what 1 cup is. When you take 2 1/2 cups, does that make 1 cup? And you can talk about that together. You can look at all of your cups, okay? You've got measuring cups at home. And then we also have some measuring spoons. So that's another fun thing to talk about together, okay? We want to bring all of that together along with our stories today. So we're going to take 1.5 cups of flour, which I already did. And then if you don't have self-rising flour, I added 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So this is the teaspoon, okay? This one right here. So you need 3, and then you need 1/2, okay? And that's the 1/2 one right there. And then you need a teaspoon of salt. So just some regular old salt, 1 teaspoon. And then the big spoon is the tablespoon. And we need 1 tablespoon of just some regular granulated sugar. Or you can use brown sugar if you want. Okay, it might give it a little bit different of a taste. So you want to kind of stir that all together. Those are your dry ingredients, okay? And after you kind of do that, let everybody have a chance to stir it. Okay, that's the fun part. And the fun part is don't worry about messes, right? We're not going to worry about that. Okay, so we're going to mix all that, make sure all the dry ingredients are mixed together. And then our recipe says to make like a little well in the middle, okay? And a well is kind of like a little hole, okay? You want to make a spot where you're sort of pushing over all the dry ingredients so that your wet ingredients can kind of go in the middle. All right, so make like a lid, just dig out a little hole for the wet ingredients. And this recipe calls for 1 4 cups of milk. So I've already measured that out. Okay, this is 1 1/4. So we're going to pour that right down into the middle. And then it calls for 1 egg. So this is an egg that I've already cracked. But you crack your egg on the side of your bowl, pour it in there, okay, and you just kind of want to whisk it just a little bit. We're going to pour 1 egg in. And then it calls for 3 tablespoons of butter. So you know when you're looking at a stick of butter, it gives you the tablespoon measurements on the little paper, okay? You want to just use like a stick of butter, and you want to kind of have it melted a little bit, so that's 3 tablespoons, okay? And we're going to pour that in there. So just make sure it's not rock solid right out of the refrigerator, but just melt it a little bit in your microwave or something, okay? And that is all we need. So now, here comes the fun part. We're going to stir this all together. So we've taken our dry ingredients and added the wet ingredients, and now we're making our pancake batter, right? That's batter. It's kind of like when you're making a cake or cookies. So here's a little rhyme that you can say together as you make your pancake batter. Mix a pancake, stir a pancake, pop it in a pan, fry a pancake, toss a pancake, catch it if you can. So that's just a fun thing you can do together as you mix this together, okay? So that makes our pancake batter. And now what we're going to do is go ahead and start grilling them up on our grill. So I've already kind of preheated this, okay, so that it's already warmed up. So you want to make sure that some grown-up is with you, okay, if you're going to start working on something like a hot surface, okay, so just make sure you're together. You want to spray it with something like a non-stick spray so that they don't stick to your pan. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Kind of just spray all that on there. Real good so they won't stick together, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other little 1/4 cup, because it tells me in my recipe to use approximately 1/4 of a cup for each pancake that I'm going to make, okay? So I'm going to just pour that right on and let that start to cook. And I might turn this up just a little bit. So I'm going to just kind of go down my griddle pan with 1/4 of a cup, spread them out a little bit, and hopefully you're doing the same. Okay, take turns putting your pancake batter onto your griddle or your frying pan or whatever you might be using at home. Okay, so now we're going to wait a couple of minutes. What you want to do is, if you've probably made pancakes before, but I'll just kind of go through. So we're looking for like some little bubbles to start forming on the top of the batter while the bottom of your pancake is grilling. So remember our rhyme, we can sing it again. Mix a pancake, stir a pancake, pop it in a pan. Fry a pancake, toss a pancake, catch it if you can. And we'll do that again when we go ready to flip these, okay? We'll sing it again. So what I like to do is just kind of keep an eye on them, and you can kind of test with your spatula to see if they're done, like just try to lift them up a little bit. And if it's still sticking a little bit to your spatula, then it's probably not quite done. And this looks perfect, so we're going to flip it, okay? Just take it, flip it right over like that. Mix a pancake, stir a pancake, pop it in a pan, fry a pancake, and toss a pancake. Catch it if you can. So that's just a fun little thing you all can do together. Saying a little rhyme together while you flip your pancakes. And these are nice and they're rising really good. They're nice and fluffy. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. You just keep an eye on yours. And when they're golden on the bottom, then we will be ready to enjoy them. The other thing is toppings for your pancakes, right? Everybody has different ways that they like to enjoy their pancakes. I like butter and just some syrup on mine. But you might have some other ideas for toppings that you can use at home. So what I'm going to use today when we get ready to serve them is I have just some maple syrup, some pure maple syrup, but you can use any syrup. I'm going to check these and see how they're doing on the bottom. And they look really good. So it's time to take them off and enjoy them. Okay, so now that they're ready, we're going to just stack them up on a plate like this. We'll make a big stack. Okay. See if they'll stay in one big stack. So remember, you can use syrup. I have some butter. Okay, we're going to add some butter to the top. And we have syrup, but you might use whipped cream. You might have some berries that you want to use. Okay? So when you get ready, pour some syrup on there or whatever you're going to be using. You might have some, like I said, berries or whipped cream. You might mix some berries in to your batter. Okay? There goes our butter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to read some fun stories together and share our pancake breakfast while you enjoy some stories that I'm going to go read. I hope you all are enjoying these yummy pancakes while we listen to this story. This is called Snuggle Mountain, and this is written by Lindsay Lane and illustrated by Melissa Iwai. This is a great story about a little girl who's trying to wake up somebody for breakfast. Let's see what happens. Emma stands on her tippiest tiptoes and looks up. Today's the day she's going to climb Snuggle Mountain all by herself, all the way to the top, and wake the two-headed giant who's caught in the sleeping spell, which causes all living creatures, especially two-headed giants, to forget about making pancakes for breakfast. Emma reaches for a rock to pull herself up, but the rock isn't a rock. It moves. It rises up in a four-legged cat-like stretch and yawns, as if it too is caught in the sleeping spell. Then it curls up in a crevice and goes back to sleep. Emma is halfway up Snuggle Mountain when she hears a snuffle. An upside down, paws in the air, doggy kind of snuffle, as if a dog is dreaming of crunchy biscuits, as if it too is trapped in the sleeping spell and can't wake up. Lump by bump, Emma inches her way to the very top of Snuggle Mountain. Way up here, she can hear the whispery sighing and rumbly snoring of the two-headed giant. Snoring is a bad sign. Snoring means the giant is deeply asleep. And if the giant is deeply asleep, then Emma must climb into the giant's sleeping cave. And if Emma climbs into that snuggly cave, then she might get caught in the sleeping spell. Very carefully, crouching atop Snuggle Mountain, Emma leans forward and peers down at the two-headed giant. All she can see is its two heads. One is covered with wild, poked-out hair. The other has soft, flowing hair. Psst, whispers Emma, and she leans so close that her hair tickles the giant's two noses. Slowly but surely, all four of the giant's eyes open. "Wake up," says Emma. The giant raises its two heads, moans a great moan, and plops its two heads down again. Before Emma can say another word, Snuggle Mountain shakes, and Snuggle Mountain quakes. Peaks become valleys, valleys become peaks. Emma tumbles down Snuggle Mountain and lands right in front of the giant's sleeping cave. "Hello! Is anybody there?" says Emma, peeking in just a teeny bit. Even from the outside, Emma can feel how warm and cozy the cover is. She scoots in a little and tickles the giant with her toes. Then she cuddles up next to the giant. Before she knows it, she's feeling a little sleepy. But as soon as she closes her eyes, her stomach grumbles. Then it roars. Emma is hungry, gigantically hungry. She scrambles out of the cave. She knows what will break the sleeping spell. "It's time for breakfast," she announces, so loud that the giant pokes its heads out of the cave. Now, did you know that this was who she was talking about? Look who's there. And what has she done to wake them up? "Milk!" she yells, and the snoozing cat climbs out of her crevice. "Biscuits!" she shouts, and the snuffling dog bounds to his feet. "Pancakes!" Emma's voice trumpets from the peaks of Snuggle Mountain as Mama and Papa sit straight up in bed. Emma leads the charge to the kitchen. Behind her, the cat, the dog, and Mama and Papa thump downstairs. She's done it! She's climbed Snuggle Mountain all by herself and broken the sleeping spell. Hungry as a mountain climber, Emma sits at the breakfast table, watching the pile of pancakes on her plate grow as tall as Snuggle Mountain. It's her favorite breakfast in the whole world. And now that Emma knows she can climb Snuggle Mountain, she might have pancakes for breakfast a lot more often. The end. Thanks for listening to Snuggle Mountain with me. Now let's go to the kitchen to do a quick rhyme. So let's enjoy this fun little song. It's just a little song about a pancake and how we're going to have it with our tea. It goes like this. So what I've done is I'm pretending like I've got a little pancake. So this is something you can do together. Make a fun pancake out of construction paper, and this is just a little piece of yellow paper, and you can pretend with a pan and a spatula that you're going to cook up your pancake. It goes like this. Pop a little pancake into a pan, pop a little pancake into a pan, pop a little pancake into a pan, I'll have one for my tea. So here's my tea in my teacup. You can grab a little cup and a spoon and pretend that you're going to mix some tea together. I'm going to shake in some sugar. Shake in the sugar with a shake, shake, shake. Shake in the sugar with a shake, shake, shake. Shaking the sugar with a shake, shake, shake. I'll have one for my tea. Let's mix it up. Now I have a little pretend lemon, but maybe you have this or just a real lemon. You can pretend. Squeeze in the lemon with a squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze in the lemon with a squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze in the lemon with a squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I'll have one for my tea. Mix it up. Now we're just going to sing. Roll it around with a roll, roll, roll. Roll it around with a roll, roll, roll. Roll it around with a roll, roll, roll. I'll have one for my tea. Let's get our pancake out of the pan. And we're going to eat it up. Eat it all up with a yum, yum, yum. Eat it all up with a yum, yum, yum. Eat it all up with a yum, yum, yum. I'll have one for my tea. And now let's go read another book. Our next story we're going to read together is called Like Butter on Pancakes. And this is written by Jonathan London and illustrated by G. Brian Karras. Like butter on pancakes. Beyond the rim of morning, the sun ticks, the birds talk. And the spoons sleep nestled in the kitchen drawers. First light melts like butter on pancakes, spreads warm and yellow across your pillow. A woodpecker pecks on a lone pine. The sun ticks, the birds talk. The rooster cock-a-cock-a-doos on the hen house roof. A cloud drifts by dragging a shadow. The sun ticks, the birds talk. The cat purrs rolling in the light. Papa's kettle whistles, Mama's bacon sizzles, slippers whisper across the kitchen floor. Rise and shine, up and at 'em, come and get it, breakfast time. You roll out of bed, the smell of bacon fills your sleepy head. The sun ticks, the birds talk. You pitter-patter in your bunny slippers, do the pajama dance in a puddle of sun. The spoons dance with you, the knives and forks, the cups and saucers, and all the pretty dishes. Then you sit down to eat, swing your feet, pour on the syrup, and dig right in. When you lick your milk mustache, you say, all done. The day has begun. Until the day is done, the sun ticks, the birds talk. And you run and jump and tumble in the hay. The barnyard animals hee-haw and neigh. They honk and they cluck, and the cow jumps over your old red truck. A bell rings. Ting-a-ling! Time to wash up. Supper time. Come and get it. After supper, the night creeps in and the moon spills milk for the cat to drink. Mama sings in your soft, dark room. Papa hums and you drift toward dreams on your feather pillow. Beyond the rim of evening, the sun sleeps, the birds too. And the spoons sleep nestled in the kitchen drawers. And that's the end of Like Butter on Pancakes. Thanks for listening. Our last book for today is called Cook in a Book, Pancakes, an Interactive Recipe Book. No food required. It's illustrated by Lotta Nieminen. So this is a really neat book, and we have this whole series here at the library. It's an interactive kind of book. And it's really cool because this book is going to kind of go through how you make pancakes, which is what we did. So let's make pancakes. Here are the ingredients, and you'll see similar things like we did before. We have 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, 1 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of sugar. So as you can see, this is a different recipe than what we used. But they're probably going to make a lot of pancakes. And we'll also need a whisk, 1 spatula, 2 mixing bowls, 1 plate, 1 measuring cup, 1 mixing spoon, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, 1 ladle, and 1 greased frying pan. Let's start making them. Scoop the baking powder, pour the sugar, add the flour, and spoon in the salt. And watch this. You can pull this down, and the flour pours into the bowl for you. Step 1, mix together the dry ingredients in 1 bowl. So we're going to mix those together. Next, we're going to add the wet ingredients, just like we talked about. So we're going to pour the milk. Did you see that, how it filled up the cup? And we're going to measure and melt the butter. Then we're going to crack the egg. And step 2 says whisk together the wet ingredients in the other bowl. So there's all the wet ingredients. If we whisk them together, we get our batter. Now we're going to stir the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients with the mixing spoon to make the batter. Just like that. Step 4, ladle the batter into separate circles in the hot buttered frying pan. So here's our ladle, and watch this. It's going to go into the pan, just like we did before. Let's see it again. Step 5, we're going to flip the pancakes with the spatula, and when the tops begin to bubble. So we want to wait for it to bubble, just like we talked about. We take our spatula and flip it over when it's nice and brown, just like that. Step 6, when both sides are browned, stack the finished pancakes on a plate. So we're going to go back to this page and take this pancake out because it fits right there on our page. Add butter, syrup, fruit or jam, lemon juice, honey, or whipped cream. Add, taste what you've made. Delicious. I hope you enjoyed that book as we made pancakes together, and thanks for joining me today. I had so much fun sharing stories with you. We'll see you again soon. Stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.